Going live. We are live now. So we'll straight get into it. Excellent. We are live. Welcome, everyone. This is once again your host, Shailesh, with NZ World News Positive. I'm trying to bring you all real people, real humans with real talk. So today we have got an excellent person, very human, humble that I know of, but also very, very bold and challenging that she has faced in her entire career. So we are going to talk about more about that. So I won't introduce you much about Kylie. She can introduce a little bit. But today we are going to talk about, this is once again our series called Real Connections with Humans. And Real Connections is all about real talk, real humans, and uncovering their journey, which they are sharing with us and with you all who are listening to understand how a human journey can be, but also how you can make the changes that you need to when anything happens that is not really pleasant for you, but then how you make those unpleasant journeys into pleasant things. So today, without any ado, I'm going to introduce you Kylie Simmonds. She's from Australia. And we also have got, as usual, normal co-host Haley, who is going to a bit of a spice up today in this talk, which is not a boring talk, but it's more real talk. So when you talk real, we need to be real. So let's be real and let's continue. And I will go to Kylie to introduce herself for a minute or so, and then we can get straight into her life journey. Kylie,
Hi,
welcome
Shailesh.
to the show. Yeah.
Hi, Shailesh and Haley. Thanks for having me. I'm from Darwin in the Northern Territory in Australia. I'm 33. I have 2 biological kids and about 6 non-biological kids, not all of whom live with me. I'm a sole administration and warranty support officer. I'm also studying my Cert 4 of mental health online.
Wow.
Considering, you don't know this yet, Shailesh, considering just recently maybe starting a diploma in hypnotherapy next year.
Oh,
I think it'll be awesome. I'm really excited. There's that,
very
and
good.
there's too many things I want to do. Like I also want to do
Mm.
the criminal psychology that I'd mentioned to you. So
Yeah.
it's just like I've got to just figure out what I want to do first, slow this crazy mind down and do it one at a time. But that's what I'm doing at the moment. We've just finished a really beautiful Christmas. First Christmas without my son, so it was hard, but we pushed through. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the new year and just doing our best.
Wow.
But that's just a little bit about me.
Excellent. Excellent. No, that's a beautiful introduction, Kylie. You are a multitask, as we can see, but also very ambitious and desirous of doing and exploring this life that we have got.
Absolutely.
Life. And I think you are all about how to explore the beautiful life that we have rather than stuck in one zone or
that's right.
or one area. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now you mentioned about, I remember recently you had a very setback or a very, very traumatic experience that you had. And I wanted to a little bit talk about that. But before I do that, tell me something about your overall journey, that since your childhood, what's your mindset was, how you were, and what you really, how you really panned out your whole journey. Give us a little bit snapshot of your childhood and your teenage and then now at this point.
So I moved away from Darwin and from my father and my loved ones with my mother for a while when I was young. I went down to Sydney. And then I came back up when I was 14. I'd had some teenage issues and, you know, some mental health problems. And I kind of acted out a lot. I was a crazy teen who would walk the streets, drink, fight. I got in a lot of fights. I had trouble walking. It wasn't that I would really start them. I've always been a really loving person, but I've also always, I'm a very strong person. And my grandfather actually taught me how to fight when I was 10. Not that he was condoning anything, but he always wanted me to be able to defend myself. And yeah, he's passed away now. He passed away in 2014. But yeah, so my journey really, it's just been a lot of mental health issues, a lot of figuring myself out, a lot of overcoming, a lot of trauma, drug addiction, just trying to self-medicate the trauma and the feelings, and when it becomes too much, and not knowing how to sort of focus on it, process it, reconceptualize it. So and that's the issue with drug addiction with most people. I mean, some people fall into it because they've made a mistake too many times trying to have fun, and then, oh, I'm addicted, depending on the drug of fun that they choose. Most of the time, though, it is because they're self-medicating, and they're trying to push away the pain, and it never works. It just causes more problems. But yeah, so I've been through domestic violence, one as recent as July. He's currently in prison for. So there's a lot of things that I've been through. I've been drugged and raped when I was in my addiction. I've recently lost my son. He was murdered in October, on the 8th of October. So that was horrific. I lost my ex-mother-in-law just weeks before that, his grandmother. And then we had to put our dog down. So that all happened within probably 6 weeks of each other.
Wow.
So and then you deal with your own grief, but to deal with your own grief and then to witness your children's grief on top is hard. And to try to plan a funeral and all the rest of it. So my father was incredible for that. He dealt with the coroner's office and dealt with all of that. And we obviously helped him organize it and stuff, but all those little things like organizing the bills, organizing the plots, all that sort of stuff, he took over that, which was great. I think it's really important to make sure that you have that kind of help when something like this happens. So yeah, I've been through a lot in my life, and yet I'm here still remaining positive, and I just like helping people, and that's why I am really happy to be here on this chat podcast today, because I love human connection, I love interaction, but I love it when people share what they've been through, and they can show other people that you don't have to let it beat you down. You can overcome. Everyone can overcome. It doesn't matter what you've been through or how bad it is. You can always overcome. You can always move forward. You just have to have the mind power, and to support is important too, but you don't need just support. You can do it yourself, but people, we don't realize how powerful we really are. And I think when you see people come into that power and realize just what they're capable of, it's a beautiful thing.
I think doing your own deeds is ultimately the goal of every human, I guess, because we may seek guidance, we may want everything from others and around us, which is fine, but doing is all about us only. Individually, they have to do themselves.
That's right.
No matter whatever it is.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a drink.
Yes, true. Yeah, no, that's very powerful message that we can hear from you, that you have been standing on your own independently in spite of all the hurdles and all the things that has happened. I mean, one after the other, to take like a earthquake shocks, it was basically. It's really a powerful mindset you need, and also to change your mindset every time and to accustom and adapt to the situation and circumstances. So tell us something like, were you always like that? Yes, compassion is a great, I think, ingredient of a human being, that when you're compassionate for others.
It's really important. I find it's really important. If we're not compassionate for others, it's not really a human experience. I think our whole experience surrounds love and compassion. And, I think it's important to lift others up, who need a bit of a step. I mean, you don't overdo it where I've always been I used to go over the top in helping people, and that's when it can become detrimental to yourself.
Yeah.
But if you have your boundaries in place and you help when you can and you do what you can, then I think that's beautiful. And I think it's really important because everyone's at a different level in life.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you can really only help yourself, but we can really make a difference in giving that little push to other people who need it. You know what I mean? Like they need to do it themselves, but at the end of the day, like at the nitty-gritty, at the core, but all of this kind of stuff helps. It's reading, seeing, recovery, just talking about things, hearing different angles of how to fix problems or how to see things or how to reconceptualize, I think is really important and good.
I'd love to know when your biggest point of self-growth was. Obviously you had a childhood and so forth where you were acting out, but I'd like to know what aspect of your life you were at when you started to find some way towards positivity and coping when all of this craziness actually happened to you this year. Because I mean, I feel like I look at you and I feel like you're coping quite well despite, you know, everything that's happened. So I'm sure there was some learning that came to you before October and July.
Yeah, so I think if this hadn't happened, you know, a couple of years ago, there's no way I'd be able to be how I am now and to be positive and to interact how I am now after what's happened. It was a process for me. So it was just a building of that characteristic over time and over years and over all the different traumatic experience that I've been through. It's just always remembering that we can change. Everything changes and we need to adapt with that change. But we also need to realize that whilst trauma can stay in our cells, in our body, in our minds, we can shift it, we can change it, and that cells regenerate. We need to remember that as well. I think the main thing here is to just remain positive always. No matter what happens and how awful something is, you need to remember that is a soul contract, as far as I believe. You may not. I'm very spiritual, and that helps me through. So that's what helps me with my son's death, is that as hard as it is for some people to hear, and they may not believe me and they may not even like me saying it, but I believe that was his soul contract, and that is what he decided to happen, either to teach others in the family some huge, you know, way of changing or something that we all need to learn and grow, or to affect the world in some way, or, you know, his own sort of pre-planned thing. I believe that he's around us. I believe that he's here. I believe that he gives us signs all the time, and he does. And that's what helps me. I also started doing Muay Thai. So he wanted to start training with Muay Thai, and I didn't have the chance to join him up because of what happened. So I've just joined, and I'm going to fight for him next year. I'm not sure when. I have to wait till I'm good enough. But so that helps as well. Having a focus, something to focus on, something that I think he'd be proud of, helps me as well. And obviously the training component helps raising serotonin levels and all the rest of it. So yeah, I think just keeping yourself busy, but not ridiculously busy, like a stressful busy. Keep yourself good busy, keep yourself focused on something. That helps a lot with traumatic things. But the main thing is always a positive outlook, like not toxic positivity where you never think negative, you don't like negative thoughts. That's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. We are humans, and we're going to have both, and we need to not be so scared of the negatives. We need to feel it, process it, and reconceptualize it. I think after my drug addiction, Hayley, would be, sorry, I always digress. Go for it. Would be when I sort of really started focusing on that, the self-healing and everything. And with drug addiction, you can try and help people as much as you want. You can cry, you can scream at them, you can threaten them. Nothing will work until they are ready to stop. And so that's what happened with me. It was 2013, and I'd had enough. And I'd moved down to Sydney with my mother and my daughter. Then my grandfather got really sick, and he had a supranuclear palsy. It's a brain degenerative disease. And so slowly, you know, you end up feeding them, changing them, you know, everything. And then eventually they have problems swallowing and they can't talk and all of that. So I went there to look after him with my at the time partner. And my daughter came back to Darwin with my father. And because he was falling over a lot, my grandpa and all the rest of it. So we went there. And we're kind of dying down a little bit with all of that, you know, every couple of weeks, sometimes we'd still, you know, muck up. But it was a big difference from just when you're in the midst of addiction, you have it, you go to sleep, you wake up, you want it again, you know, it's a constant, you know, whereas this was kind of pedaling down from that. And yeah, I just had enough. And but the main thing for me was what my daughter had gone through, nothing huge, like seeing me having big fights with a partner or something, or seeing me do any of it or anything like that, but just not being there for her in the capacity that I needed to be. You know, probably sleeping too much. I still had that motherly, I'd always read to her, put her to sleep, and then I'd sneak out because I was living at dad's. So, you know, I'd still do that. But just sometimes, you know, when I was having a hard time or, you know, really awful stuff would happen, I would, you know, maybe take off for 2 days, you know, and dad would have her sometimes. And just things like that. It's not acceptable. You know what I mean? And I just didn't want to fall back into that again. And I wanted to clear everything up, and she deserved it. And that's my main reason. And then not long after I got clean, I felt pregnant with my son, who just came, stole my phone. So yeah, and I'd been clean for probably 8.5 years now, with a relapse amongst in there. But that was very short. So, and that's the problem with, you think that some people understand that you're always going to kind of struggle with that, or it's going to be there. And some people think, no, I've got it. I've got it in the bag. I was one of those people. I was like, I hate it. I'm never touching it again. And I did. I really hated it. The thought of it. Someone could do it in front of me. No, thanks. But then when this like awful crap happened again and triggered me, and yeah, you know, sometimes, so it's something to remember as well. We always need to be mindful of it's a process, and it's a lifelong thing. Not to make it sound like negative or hard. You can do it, but you just got to remember, when you're having a hard time, really hard time, don't think, you know, it's all good, and you don't need to be aware, just to be aware of that, and kind of make sure you have things in place so that you don't lapse, you know. So yeah, it's just been a constant since getting better. Like, I didn't use a rehab to come clean. It was a lot of self-actualization, realization, healing, realizing what my triggers were, and all that sort of stuff. It's different for everyone though. And I think the right kind of rehab are great for people. Some of them are crap. but yeah, no, it's just a process, and that's what I love about us as humans, is we continually can learn, and we can build on anything we want, and we limit ourselves so much. You know, we think we can't do this, we can't do that. This happened to me, so I'm fucking head now. Sorry if I'm not allowed to swear, but you know, all that sort of stuff. And everyone needs to stop limiting themselves and believing that if you believe in yourself and love yourself, everyone needs to love themselves more, especially people stuck in addiction. They hate on themselves, they feel so guilty. And then it's a cycle, a vicious cycle. They just need to show themselves more love. And so do other people, actually. That people can be really judgmental and awful. And they don't realize that these people are in pain, you know, and they just need to be loved and you know, accepted for who they are at the time. And I know that's going to be hard for people to hear who, like, have had stuff stolen from them from junkies and all the rest of it. But like, at the end of the day, we all do bad stuff when we're hurting, and doesn't make it okay. But throwing people in a jail doesn't work. Throw them in a bin and let's see if they're any better when they get out, hey, with no help, no mental health help, and expect them to not be criminals or drug addicts. Doesn't sound right to me. So yeah, no, look, constantly building, constantly being positive. Look, I listen to Dr. Leaf, she's incredible. Listen to different podcasts that you think work for you, stuff like that. That's the advice I can give. But my turning point, Hayley, would be around then, just thinking of my daughter and thinking I'd had enough. I just had enough. Yeah.
That's good, positive.
I like that. I like it.
So with all these challenges that you have been faced, and then you are accepting the situation, the circumstances, and everything that moves around, and also
Yeah.
and also
There's nothing you can do about it, you know. You have to you have to
Mm,
accept it for what it is and figure out how you're going to live with it,
mm,
how you're going to get through it, you know. You've got to think about what you do still have, you know.
mm.
Think about all the beautiful things you have.
Yeah. So
Regardless whether you've lost someone really close to you and really beautiful, you got to think what you got left and you can't let it destroy you, you know.
yeah. So I have one question, like, how do you made positive people around you think that you have to accept is fine? One way is acceptance, that you have accepted, but then the other side of the acceptance is the community, the society that you live in, and the people that are around you should be accepting also just the way who you are, and now what you are doing and what sort of positive changes you are making. How did you make those changes into people's minds or surroundings of yours?
I don't know. Look, I honestly, my nickname used to be Kai Fry. Fried.
Okay.
Like fried.
Why?
So and then now, like, I'm hearing that not many people have anything bad to say about me anymore. There's always nice things. I'd recently heard from someone, which was beautiful. Not that I really care if anyone says anything bad about me. I think that's the main thing here, is that you have to know yourself enough, love yourself enough, and know that you are good in your essence, that you don't care what anyone thinks about you. But it is good to see that I have positive interactions with people now. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I'm a positive person and I'm kind to people. My inbox is always open. I people seem to be drawn to me for advice, which is great because I love giving it. No. No, I think it's really important surrounding that as well, to always ask. Sometimes people just want to vent, you know, and our natural reaction is to give advice or our opinions, you know.
But also a natural reaction of humans is to judge people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm sure I'm judged all the time. I'm very out there. I'm very sometimes I can be very fast. Sometimes people are like, is she still on it? But yeah, look, I guess it's just, you got to have a shield of armor. You have to have your own shield of armor that works for you. Incoming. What's up?
Right.
Well, well, you need to go into your settings and then try, and you need to get one of the girls to help you, please, because I'm busy, remember? Sorry.
Right. Okay. Yeah, no. So that's one of the challenges, is like how to change the people's minds around you.
Yeah. Just showing, I guess just being the best version of yourself sometimes can help others. Like if you're showing how you're not judgmental and you're showing how you're kind to other people, sometimes it's a kind of flow on effect, you know. Yeah, there's no textbook on it.
Sure. No, I get that. So in terms of your stage that you are in today, and the ways you have overcome lots of hurdles, but we are still grieving. You're still into that state, managing situation where it's not never-ending kind of story, which our human journey is never ending with. We cannot say this is completed or that is completed or this is completed good or bad. It's not about that, but how you manage is more important of everything and anything that we live for or that we thrive for. So at this, what's your mental mind stage, that with all the changes that you have seen, and you have to still deal with it, and you're still dealing with it. It's not that.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that calmness, or how do you maintain that positivity?
It's really surprising for me, actually. I used to be the type who could be quite explosive. Or if I felt crap, I'd go have a drink, you know, go get drunk or go get high. Yeah. So now it's more so accepting my feelings, and that just really, really, it's really important to remember, because sometimes they can be really intense and really awful. It's usually the worst for me at night. My nights are just starting to get a little bit better now. But so I was having panic attacks in my sleep because I was so strong during the day. When I was asleep, I'd get sneak attacked from the anxiety and stress, and have panic attacks over my son's death. And when I say my son, I just wanted to be clear, he has two mothers and a father, so I'm his technically stepmother, but he called me mother, so just putting that out there to be respectful.
Sure,
His
sure.
biological mother. So yeah, and I sleep with his shirt still. It's one armpit still smells like him, so I'm like this weirdo that sniffs his armpit, but I don't care how weird it seems.
I still
So,
have
yeah.
the old teddy. From years and years ago, I put it in plastic just to preserve the smell. So you're not the only one.
Yeah. No, it's important. It's so you don't think of these things. You don't think anything like this is going to happen to you, but when you have those things, when things like this happen, it's really important. And it helps. So I just made sure go to a counselor. I organized multiple in case they were busy, to make sure that I had that support in place so that I could continue to support the kids and their father, who is in prison. So he had to find this out. We had to go in and tell him about his son, which was awful. But he's doing really well in there too. All things considered, I'm really proud of him. But yeah, so I guess it's just not being scared of the feelings that you feel, no matter how deep and how dark and how sort of despairing they can be, is to just realize that this is just how I feel right now, because something so important to me is gone, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. We understand totally.
This is all about honesty. So you do whatever you need to do. It's
yeah. So just and not being scared to cry.
Yeah.
And it's like with me, I have a subconscious thing where I will try to stop myself, and I don't know why, because I'm such a huge advocate of crying. But I do. So that's an important process for me as well, is to, when it comes on, to sort of allow it. And yeah, just do things that make you happy in remembering that person. That helps me. So today I was wearing the shirt that we'd had on at his funeral. It has a picture of his face. And I was in the shop and I was trying to get something from his sister, and one of the songs came on that he likes, you know, little things like that. Yesterday when I was there was a lady who had a K, because his name was Kingsley Jr., who was serving me. Little things like that happen all the time, and they make me feel better. And yeah, I guess just my spirituality and what I believe really helps me as well. But like at the start, you're so shocked. You're so shocked, and you're so upset. You hear sounds coming from your mouth you've never heard before, you know, like it's a wailing of crying. And you just have to let that process happen, and not be scared that it's always going to be like this. You are always going to grieve that person when it's someone really close to you, but you'll find ways to live with it. You know, a piece of your heart gets buried with them, but you find a way to push through and live with them by being positive and trying to figure out how to make it work for you. Everyone's so different and intricate. So for me, just keeping his memory alive and talking about him a lot, talking about it, like I don't care. I will talk about it. What happened, I will talk about it. It makes someone uncomfortable, so be it. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to stay silent on what happened to my son. I'm going to make sure that justice is served as well. So I'm really focused on the court process as well, and trying to learn about that so that I make sure that they're doing their job properly, and that there's no shortcuts or nothing, you know, going on there. So all of that helps me as well. I focus on that. I'm focusing on, I'm going to be raising money soon for his headstone. So that's going to be a new focus, because I like to be kept busy, and that's what helps me. Remaining positive, being kept busy, and doing things that honor him. That's what helps me. So and yeah, again, having that, what you have, the people you do have left is beautiful, and that's what you need to focus on as well.
No, very well said. I think the listeners who are listening is one is your story is real, which has got so much of challenges that you have been going through. That's one thing. And then the other part is how you're maintaining and managing in the current situation. and still not completed, still dealing with it regularly, ongoingly, how focused you are in terms of your mindset. And that's something that I'm also very much honor that this is great kind of a reckoning for me as well, awakening for me as well as a human. Like, no matter how much we face or how much we can face, this is like the ultimate challenges when you lose a person that you know, that you love or that you like, you are losing a human. There is nothing beyond that you could have.
Especially when something happens, this is another important thing for people to remember, especially when something happens one after the other, it can really feel like the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, what is actually happening here? Why is it happening? Why is it happening to me? My life is shit. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? That's really important to not do that. It's so hard, but it's something that's really important you have to do and realize is that even though this awful thing has happened and then this awful thing and then that, it's going to stop at some point. Everything's going to turn around. There's a reason it's all happening. As awful as it is, and I know that sounds bad, there's usually a reason it's happening. The universe will always take us where we need to be, and you just need to remember that things always get better eventually, and to not give up. I know a lot of people sometimes would rather not be here and they struggle with that, and sometimes that overcomes them. I think it's really important to just hang in there and always reach out for help and just keep trying.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point that you raised. This is what I wanted to just highlight here once again for the audience is that, no matter how much challenges you face, you need to seek help. And there are lots of other help, but you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And dependence is fine. But again, dependence is, if you depend others, that means you have to do. So
that's a big one for me. That's a big one. That's I actually did a little clip on this before because I muck around on TikTok and be silly, but sometimes I'll have some real serious stuff in there. One of the serious things I'd said was it's a really important reminder is that people are not always going to check in on you. Absolutely. And then that's not saying anything bad about them as people. They try their best. They might be busy. They might be going through their own stuff. You need to learn how to be resilient and how to take care of yourself and your heart and your mind and not just rely on other people to always be there and nurturing you and all the rest. Because when things happen, everyone's there. They're there at the start and it's all, they're all in, but then they're going to drop off. They're eventually going to drop off. And again, nothing wrong with that. Some people just aren't built for that. Some people will be there the whole way through, but still not to the point that you might need as a human. So it's really important for us to learn how to nurture ourselves and look after ourselves and learn how to find or figure out where we're going to get our positivity from today. Do you know what I mean? If you can't get it from yourself, what are you going to do? Go and have a look online, go follow someone that you like, start following positive people, stop having shitty, negative people on your Facebook, because that's what's going to pop up on your screen.
Yeah.
Someone mouth off and carrying on about what happened today and my life shit and and if you're at a level where you can handle that, like I've still got a couple people like that, but if you're at a level and you can handle that, well, then you can just say something nice and lift them up, whatever. But if you're not and you're constantly surrounded by these kinds of people, it's just going to bring you down. So just, finding that's such an important one for me too, is to always let people know you cannot rely on others no matter how much you think you are, even counselors, because they're not there 24 hours a day. You can't just be like, oh my God, I'm feeling so crap right now. Just going to call straight away. No, you wish. I wish it was like that. But it's not. And so that is a really important one to say is we need to be resilient in ourselves and learn how to nurture ourselves.
Yeah, I always say that my quote is very simple. Like when you, as a human, we are also a teacher and we are also a student. So you got to play always learning and always trying to understand and guide someone. Whatever, sharing your wisdom, sharing your experiences. So you become a teacher as well and you become a student at the same time. So I think this is what is powerful for every human journey to understand.
Very much so.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate that. But also seeking help and taking that help that you needed all the time is very important part of your journey.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't just say that I've got all these issues now and I will give up my eating or I will give up my drinking or I will give up my sleep. That's not the answer, really. So that's what I personally take away from this. with your positive, because you may be smiling and people might thinking, the listeners might, oh, she's happy. She's happy.
She's totally fine. Yeah,
She's
no.
totally fine. But
Right time. You should
we
see me
deal
some
with
nights.
it. Mm.
But you got to just let it happen and
Mm.
push through. Read, do whatever it is, you know, like don't just divert from your feelings completely, but so that you don't get stuck there. And if you can't sleep and you just feel miserable, I'll read and distract myself. And yeah.
What would you say for the people who struggle with dependency, the people who are trying to overcome addiction, but they struggle to ask for help? They try and deal with it on their own. People who struggle with grief and don't want to affect anybody else or bring them down negatively, so they just feel it within themselves. What would you say to them as a form of encouragement to allow them to feel like they can get support and that's okay?
I think baby steps and not beating yourself up are really important, first of all. But secondly, I think there's so many other options now too to get help. Looking online for some chats. There's grieving chats, addiction chats. Instead of, if you don't feel like you're not comfortable doing a face-to-face with a counselor, or even on the phone, you don't want to talk, you want to type, you want to text, especially for the young mob. That's a really good thing to look at. Your surroundings are really important. So if you're stuck in a rut and you're at home, you don't feel like going anywhere, if you can just try to push yourself, just go for a little walk at the beach or anywhere that's kind of beautiful. That really helps. And yeah, I think just, it's a hard one because it's so easy to say to someone, just reach out for help, just, you know, but sometimes they literally won't. So I'm not going to say that in this instance. I was going to say, you know, if there's any close friend, you know, but honestly, when they're like that, the best thing is to just try to do as much as you can for yourself and just see if you can take those little baby steps to getting the help that you need, you know. Don't just ignore it and try to fix it yourself. But if you don't have the ability in you to go to a friend or a family member or go face to face and make a booking, have a look online. Have a look online for whatever you can, whatever positive things you can. Google what you're feeling, and it might come up with something that's, you know, that's with that can help with that. And looking at positive things, like positive people, you know, people who are going through the same thing as you might be able to find on TikTok, or, you know, for the younger people. And books, you know, books as well are good. You can pop by a bookstore and get something that is relevant to what you're sort of going through. That would be a good start as well for someone who doesn't want to just go and make a booking and go see someone face to face. Always, trying to do the online. And if you don't want to go to a bookstore because you're that depressed, you don't want to go anywhere, order one online. There's Kindles free. You can download free books even, but even the ones you pay for, I read every night. I love reading. So there's like $5, $6 literally, and it downloads straight into your Kindle app. There's all those sorts of things you can do, and just never, ever, ever give up.
How did you train your mind in that space? What you are suggesting is brilliant, but how do you train that mind to do those things? You know, it's a very
it's hard. I get, for me, it's because it comes natural now.
Yeah.
I guess, it's important to
you know, it's like
hard, isn't it? Because if they're completely hermit and like away from anyone who can remind them of this, I guess
so you need people around you who will remind
you do. You've got to do the inner work yourself, but I guess you do need a little bit of that interaction to get these little reminders and stuff. And, you know, so that's why I guess it's good that the internet is here, you know, because
you can talk
people who aren't going to want to leave their house and go talk to someone or a neighbor or a friend can just hop on there. So I guess, I don't know. And, you know, another good one is to leave post-it notes around. They're good reminders. But yeah, it's something you just have to kind of remember and fall into. But you need a bit of a reminder.
But I guess my point was not for people who are listening, they might feel stuck and they don't know this is the end of the road, but there are lots of options are there, as you suggested.
I
think this is brilliant, that what listeners must be at least wanting to do one or the other. And if not, then at least talk to yourself and find out the answers from yourself. Then just not doing anything. That's
Yeah.
the key thing, right?
Yeah, it can snowball,
Yeah.
just gets worse. You've got to
Mm,
figure out what it is that's really getting to you. And the
mm,
thing is that sometimes people don't even realize
mm,
what is getting to them, especially young people. They don't
mm,
even know why they feel the way they feel. It could be some sort of hidden childhood trauma, could
mm.
be all sorts of things really. And that's why it's so important to reach out for help, because whilst back to the same old, we do it all ourselves really inside, but you need that help
Yeah,
at first. You can't action something you don't know how to action. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? That's why I'm big on people getting that assistance, that psychology or counseling or reading books or whatever self-help stuff, because you don't know, especially if you're young, you don't know how to do that. You don't know how to reconceptualize things, or how to even process trauma or move forward, or what's this trigger, what's happening here. My son was fantastic at that.
Mm,
He went through a lot in his childhood, and towards the end he was really becoming really great with psychology and realizing his own triggers and stuff, and that made me so happy, because I've always been right into that. So that was something that we would always
yeah.
interact over, and that was our thing. But he liked to follow Jordan Peterson as
Mm,
well, who I did as well. We didn't realize we were following the same people,
mm,
and Spanian, like someone who's done that life, and because
yeah.
he's had that kind of lifestyle too, like I did, and like his father did, sort of street life, kind of running amok, and not knowing how to feel, and how to heal and all the rest of it, and then overcoming that and coming good and wanting to work and contribute to society and be a decent human being, and not
Mm,
let our past overcome us and all the rest of it. Like that's exactly what he did as well. So yeah, I think it's really important. We need to learn to know ourselves and the way that our brains function, and how we function as humans, and what our triggers may be, so we can nip them in the
yeah.
bud.
Yeah, that's brilliantly put, I think.
I think
So,
it's quite fascinating that my dog jumped up right when you were talking about finding support, because I've heard that when experiencing grief, a lot of people find that having an emotional support animal just absolutely saves them, especially when they can't speak to other people, when they do feel too nervous to show that they're in pain.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. I believe that's true as well. Have you ever heard of animal mediums?
Yeah, I have.
Do you believe in them?
I've studied dog psychology, so I understand how you can have a really deep understanding of each other. So my dog and we can just talk non-verbally, and I know exactly what she wants. She knows what I'm after. It's this really beautiful, deep connection, and I can experience that with other animals as well.
That's
As far as the
beautiful.
mediums goes, I'm not too sure. I'd be interested to hear what you think.
There's one who I think is it Daniel Hawkins? He's a well-known medium.
Wow.
I think that's how you say his last name. He'd posted a lady on his page, and she seems to be legit. It's very interesting because you see people's reviews.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, but with everything, you've got your fakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it just made me think of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they're beautiful. They're really great. My sister actually, Bella, recently, she was talking to me about how she wanted to study equine therapy. So she has horses. Yeah. So very interesting. Yep.
Oh, beautiful.
wow, this is brilliant. This is a good connection.
We're talking about equine therapy. We're talking about dog mediums.
No, this is all connections. This is all connections of an individual that she or he can have, which is amazing.
Well, it highlights the way that one person may need one thing for help, one person may need another. There is no right or wrong way.
Yeah, there's no set way. You know what I mean? And that's what's important too for healing and therapy is to realize that. And I guess for people who are giving that therapy, psychologists, counselors, and all the rest of it, is to know that everyone's different. You've got to sort of assess the person that you're helping and figure out what's best for them. I'm so passionate about this. I could talk all day. But that's what I want to get into. This is the field that I want to get into. I want to help people, especially after what happened to my son. Like, if those people had early intervention, they wouldn't be the kind of people who would commit an atrocity like that. Absolutely. So it's always been a passion of mine. I've always been chipping away at it in the background, but like, I've been studying that cert for mental health for 2 years. I haven't been doing it. So I haven't even finished my first unit.
Mm.
So now's the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I've just gone into it now because of what's happened. It's that I want to hurry up and get into the field already and help. You know, like I help a lot of people, just in general with stuff like you know, in my inbox and whatnot, and you know, talking to people. But yeah, no, I really am looking forward to taking it to the next level. I just want to help a lot of people on a larger scale. And that's what truly makes me happy as a person. Like, I get really happy, and that's where it fell into a toxic zone for me when I was younger, because I didn't have boundaries. And I could sit and wait and do something for someone, like, and waste my whole day even. So yeah, I have those boundaries in place now, and it feels really good to know that I can continue to help people, but without hurting myself or dragging myself backwards, or you know what I mean. Because then the other important thing too is that sometimes when people are going through a really hard time, you can't get stuck there with them, you know. And sometimes you can offer help to someone and they're not ready, and you need to take a step back so that it doesn't affect you too much, especially if you love and care for them. And just always let them know you're kind of there, you know, but don't drown with them.
Yeah. Would you like us to give anyone watching a link to your inbox? Would you be open to people contacting you if they would like to have a chat and maybe have some advice or support?
Sure, I would love that. I would actually love that. It's very important for them to remember I get really busy, but I'm a single mum, so, and I work full time, so I will get back to you. It just might not be immediately, but I would love that. So I've got my Facebook. I'm probably not going to accept randoms on there, but the Messenger, people could. So Kylie Simmonds. That's probably the best place. I don't think TikTok and all that's a good place for that. Because Messenger, you can do the audios. I'm the audio. I'm the audio queen. I love audio videos. People's inflections, tones, meanings. Fantastic, and faster. Like, I'm fast, in case you didn't notice.
It takes so much less time and energy as well. And again, it's extra. It's extra intimacy, which we all need, especially in this kind of environment where it's text.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And it's good to hear people's laugh too sometimes, instead of
you get such a good sense of who they are. And it's sharing. Just a laugh in itself can produce hormones in somebody else that, you know,
that's right.
Happy hormones as well. It's infectious, quite literally.
It's kind of like yawning. Someone will yawn, but if you smile at someone, usually they'll smile back. Yes,
exactly. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm sure people can appreciate that for sure. So thank you.
No, that's a very good final touches we would like to now do is, Kylie, tell me, what is your message to the audiences who are listening? Because for me, what I take away today is not just a human journey can be bombarded with lots of things where it is unpleasant, but also human journey is also capable of overcoming all those bombarded journey that we face. And here is an example live that you are already living that journey. You are facing that journey, but also you have one step ahead. I'm so much humbled and excited that you are not only that overcoming, but you want to now help others. A strong desire to do that. And that really makes me wonder, like, what human power and ability that we have. And we still, many people who get stuck, as you said before, that they don't know what to do or they don't know how to handle it. But here is an example of you that you can not just handle it, but now you are able to now teach and guide others as well to how to handle. So that's really a good takeaway for me. And all the listeners who are listening probably will give you the feedback, and we would like to have your feedback about how you deal with your life and how challenges that, how much hard you can get unless other than you are losing your own person. There is no such bigger harder than that, I personally feel, when you lose a human life. And whenever you are alive, you have to keep doing things that you may not like it, but you are still doing it because you got the power to do it.
That's right.
And it makes you human, and it makes you who a human being really is. So in terms of that, now what I think I have summed up for me what it is. What is your final thing that for all the listeners, that message that you would like to give in terms of your that people can literally say that, okay, yeah, if Kylie can do it, why can't I do it?
That's right, 100%. I'm not like Superwoman or anything like that. Anyone's capable, and everyone can do it. What matters to me is that, and this is really huge for me, this is a huge one for me, is all the bad things I've been through in my life, no matter how awful, if I can turn that into some way to help someone else, then it was all worth it. Other than my son dying, I can't say that's worth it. I'll admit that. I'll never be able to say that's worth it. But all the other bad things I've been through, the addiction, the rape, the domestic violence, anything like that, being cheated on, you know, all those kind of little things, all the losses, or anything I've experienced in my life, if I can turn that into something to help someone else, then those experiences for me aren't so bad and so horrific. Do you know what I mean? I think what's important for everyone to remember is that you think of all the awful things that have happened to you and how you weren't expecting that and how intricate they were. You need to understand that the same things can happen in a good way, intricate, amazing, new things that you thought would never happen or that you'd never experience in a fantastic and beautiful way. The same thing can happen. It's not all bad, you know. Something that's just as high on a level in a good way, so like that was awful, something amazing can happen as well. And it's really important to remember that it's not going to just happen straight away. And you know, another really important thing too for me is, like, I went through the domestic violence thing in June, July. Then I lost my my mother-in-law, and then my dog, and then my son. It was like after the domestic violence incident happened, I thought, oh, okay, fuck, it's gonna be good, you know. I was stuck there. My flight, I couldn't, like, I missed my flight. They weren't being good at rescheduling, doing anything for me. I didn't have a phone. I had to go into Telstra. The guy was incredibly unhelpful, which he later was told off for, and it was all sorted. But like nothing fell into place immediately after that, like I thought it would. I thought, oh, this awful thing has happened now. It's all gonna, no. So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And it's really important to remember that that's some sort of lesson or some sort of thing to make you stronger, build up your resilience. You know, the world doesn't hate you, the universe doesn't hate you. You just need to remember that you're gonna overcome this. You can overcome this. You do have the strength. And if you need to get that little bit of extra help, please reach out for it. And if you don't want to interact with another human, go online. Look for something that is similar to what you're experiencing and see how other people have dealt with it, to see if any of those things might help you. And just never, ever give up. Ever. That is what I have to say.
Beautifully said. Never give up.
Never.
I love it.
And don't beat yourself up either. Don't ever beat yourself up. If you make the wrong decision, or you relapse, or you whatever you do because you're going through an awful and traumatic time, be gentle on yourself and realize that this is how you're trying to deal with it. Yes, it's not the best way, but don't beat yourself up, or you're just going to keep doing it. Think of, all right, I've done this now. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I want to be doing. I don't want it to spiral. Look at it. What do I need to do to change it next time? What can I do to make it a little bit better so that I don't do this, that I don't think is helpful to my recovery or my healing, you know? And you change the way you look at it, and maybe I should try this, or this is my trigger. Maybe I should stay away from that person, you know? So yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, no, beautifully said. You have anything to add, Hailey, to this beautiful, amazing Kylie giving her insights? I think lots of messages are there in this today's conversation that we are having with you. It's a real connection of humans. It's a real connecting with yourself. It's a real connecting with other humans, with all your journey. I think it's all a real connection. So you can add something, Hailey, and then I can finally do the closing the honors.
Well, I'm glad you gave me the opportunity, because I do just want to say how how I really admire how strong you are, how positive you are. Your resilience is just beautiful and incredible, and I think you're going to go on to do really amazing things. I think you're going to encourage so many people. I think I can't wait to see what you do. I think you're going to pull all of these experiences, you're going to throw them into the mental health work that you're doing, the Muay Thai that you're doing. And I think it's just going to make you so much stronger and more determined. And whatever happens to you from here, I fully believe that you will turn all of it into something really positive and beautiful, and you'll just help more and more people.
I will. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you, Hayley.
You too.
Thank you, Shailesh, for having me on. I love what you're doing here. I think it's really important for us as humans to interact and connect and understand each other and understand that we're all different, but it's beautiful and it's fine, but
Absolutely.
to understand each other.
Absolutely.
And help each other.
Help each other, support each other.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful message, and Hayley summed up, and I can't wait as well for Kylie's journeys in the future, what she comes, how she helps much better than everyone that we try to help best, and we should thrive for that. Who is doing the better help? Competition should be there. Who is better?
Let's have a competition. Who can help the most people now?
No, I think this is beautiful. So listeners, you can see that colorful life of Kylie at this stage. She's very young. She's very, has lots of responsibilities, and she had been through lots of things. But look, everybody has a responsibility on this planet when they come, and everybody has been challenged by many things that the universe throws at us. The question is how to deal with it. And I think what Kylie has demonstrated today, and with a desire, with a view that she did not said that, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that, but instead she found a way to how she can do it. So I think most important message for everyone who is listening, and for me as well, is to always find a way how you can do it rather than you can't do it, basically. Because you can't do it is very easy to say. You can't do it is take a little efforts to do something. And that's where, when you take little effort, that's where you show that your power, you uncover your own power, and then you also discover that you are a human being with unlimited capabilities.
I think another important thing to add is also when bad things happen to us, it's important to not ask why, and to ask how. How can I fix this? How can I change this to make it go away? Or how can I adapt to this? A lot of people ask why me? And I know it's such a natural thing to feel and to ask, but it's not helpful to yourself. It's really important to just be like, how? What are we going to do? What are we going to do to get through this?
Yeah, so the most important thing is like you overcome your challenges with whatever help you need. There is no shame in taking help. There is no unapologetic situations that you should be thinking of. Everything is very real. That's why we started this, like real connections with real people, with real talk and real experiences. It's not something that is taken out of the book, that yourself is a book.
It's so important. Like, that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. I've got all this life experience, which is, I don't mean to offend anyone else who's in that field, but it's so important, I think, with certain interactions with people you're helping, that you have the life experience. But now I've got to get that textbook experience, and it's difficult for me to study and stay focused on one thing, especially online. So that's something I'm trying to overcome. But it is definitely, I love what you're doing here, because it's you're getting to know real people, real situations, and real life, and that's what matters.
That's what matters, because you are dealing with not just kids, adults, and teenage, but everyone in your life journey. And everybody needs to be treated differently and different circumstances, right? But the question is like how you keep focused on those things and positive on those things, so that you can make real differences every single minute, every single moment that you are spending on this earth. So that's what is very important, that human beings are capable of. And I think bringing people like you and sharing your story, I really appreciate that, sharing your story, which is real and not something taken out of the book or somebody has written for you. So which is what makes me more fascinating for all others also to understand this is real humans and real stories that we are talking about. So we are all capable of, as you can see that. So let's keep doing this, human journey, that we accepting whatever the universe brings to us is nothing wrong or bad or right or wrong, but it's just like it's throwing at us and challenging us, and we are just have to accept the challenges that we get. That's what it is. Acceptance is the first thing. So I really appreciate, Kylie. This is excellent pleasure to talk to you on this show.
Thank you. You too.
I would definitely love to bring you on different topics, because you have got so much topics too, and then you need to help, and you are interested in helping, which is what
Definitely.
what we are all about, here to help each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my final message. Let's help each other. Let's support each other. But yeah, and we will bring Kylie once again for different topics that she has uncovered herself, which will be a real experience to share as well, to see how her journey she has experiencing, and she's also uncovering her own and how she's resolving and solving her journey. So thank you once again, Kylie, for this beautiful opportunity for me to talk to you, and also my co-host Hailey. I really appreciate you. So,
yeah, thank you, Hailey. Thanks for your interaction and your questions. And it was beautiful meeting you. I think you're an incredible person like Shailesh. So it was a pleasure.
Featuring the girl River.
Yeah, is that a girl or a boy?
Yeah. Her name is River. She's 8 years old.
Hello.
She's it's actually a really beautiful time that she's coming.
There you go. So we might
she has been my emotional support dog. So
she's right on your lap now, like
yeah. It's perfect timing. It's perfect timing for her to make an appearance.
Absolutely. So we will end up this our show with your beautiful dog. That's
right.
Got a real connection.
Have anything to say?
Not just humans, but also with everyone on this planet that we are here for. So we should have connection with everyone, whether it's animals, humans, anyone, plants, nature, everything is all for us to connect.
Absolutely.
And so with that, I end this show, and we will bring you. Thank you so much once again, Kylie.
Bye from Darwin.